Hello, welcome to Lesson 2, called Linear Equations and Graphs. Before we move on to the actual lesson, let's take a look at the answers to the challenge questions in the previous video. Here, we are being asked to simplify the following expressions. In this first question, the problem is 2x plus 3y plus 4x plus 12y, when y is equal to 2 and x is equal to 1. Let's combine like terms. Doing so will result in 6x plus 15y, because we added 2x and 4x to get 6x, and 3y and 2y to get 15y. Now let's substitute the variables for what they're worth in the equation. Doing so will result in 6 plus 30, because we multiplied 6 by 1 and 15 by 2. Let's add them together now. We get 36 as our final answer. Let's take a look at the next problem. Now this may look lengthy, but it's not hard at all. 5x plus 2y plus 8x plus 7x plus 9y. Y is equal to 3 and x is equal to 4. Let's repeat the same steps that we did over here. Simplify, combine like terms. We get 20x plus 11y. Substitute the variables. We did that here. And add them together. 60 plus 44 is equal to 104. That's our answer. Not hard. Here we're being asked to solve the following equations. 5y plus 13 is equal to 23. Let's get both the like terms on opposite sides of the equation. Doing so, we will subtract 13 from both sides. And we will get 5y is equal to 10. Let's divide to isolate the variable, and we get y is equal to 2. Now let's look over here. 12c plus 18 is equal to 42. Let's subtract 18 from both sides. 12c is equal to 24. Now let's divide to isolate the variable. C is equal to 2. Now let's move on to the actual lesson. What is a linear equation? A linear equation is an equation that normally has two variables and depicts a straight line once plotted on the graph. You will see examples later in the video. An example of a linear equation would be y is equal to 3x plus 2. We will discuss the forms of the linear equations in a later video. Slope. Slope is the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change in a linear equation. In other words, it's the steepness of the linear equation. An example would be in the equation 4x plus 3. In this case, 4 would be the slope of this equation. A y-intercept is a point at which the line coincides with the y-axis. An example here is 0, 9. This can be a y-intercept for an equation. An x-intercept is just like the y-intercept, except it's a point at which the line coincides with the x-axis. An example here would be 5, 0. This can be an x-intercept to an equation. Here are some examples of the graphs. Let's take a look at this one. Here we are showing y is equal to 4x plus 3. This is the slope of the equation. It's how steep the line is going up. This is the y-intercept. It coincides with the y-axis at this point. This is the x-intercept. It coincides with the x-axis at this point. Let's look at this equation now. This is equal to y is equal to 5x plus 2. This is the slope once more. It's very steep, as you can see. This is the y-intercept, and this is the x-intercept. We will learn how to graph these types of equations in a later video. Let's figure out how to find the slope of the line, given 2 points. Here's the formula. Slope is equal to the change in the y-axis, the y point, over the change in the x of the 2 points. This will make more sense after we do an example. Here's an example with 2 points. 2, 4, and 6, 8. Let's take the change in the y values of these points. 8 minus 4 is equal to 4. Now let's take the change in the x-intercepts, x values of these points. 6 minus 2 equals 4. Now let's divide them. 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. 1 is the slope of this line that passes through these 2 points. So it's not that hard. Just remember this formula. How to find the x-intercepts. When you're finding the x-intercepts, the y value will always be 0. Let's take a look at this example. Y is equal to 2x plus 6. Let's substitute 0 for y. Doing so, we get 0 is equal to 2x plus 6. Now let's solve the equation like we normally do. Bring the 6 over to the other side. Negative 6 is equal to 2x. Now let's divide by 2. Negative 3 is equal to y. Therefore, our x-intercept is negative 3, 0. Now finding the y-intercept is just like finding the x-intercept. When you're finding the y-intercept, the x value will always be 0. Let's take a look at the same example. Y is equal to 2x plus 6. Except this time, we're substituting 0 for x instead of y. Once we do so, we see we're multiplying 2 by 0. This obviously equals 0. So once we solve the equation, y is equal to 6. Therefore, our y-intercept is 0, 6. Here are some challenge questions for you to do. For more practice, you can visit kudasoftware.com. I will post more worksheets soon on my channel. Do you have any questions? Put it in the comment section. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.